I think what's most interesting, Dan, is that the people who are screaming about this and ranting or raving, they are not afraid because they fear that they will be censored or that they will be deplatformed. They fear that people who question or challenge them will not be censored or deplatformed. So a lot of people have been telling on themselves this week. The fact that political neutrality is even controversial and for people to have backlash against, they're essentially telling on themselves by admitting that they didn't believe that Twitter was previously politically neutral, nor that it should be.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed, because literally all Elon Musk has actually pledged to do is uphold the laws around freedom of expression and freedom of speech. I just cannot understand, Zuby, why it is some sort of highly controversial position.
Well, I think it's controversial because over a period of time, I've been on Twitter myself for 13 years, which is quite scary in itself. Mm-hmm. But over time, this platform and many others have become increasingly censorious. They have moved to deplatform people who primarily are on the right side of the political aisle, not exclusively people on the right side of the aisle, but this is something that slowly crept up more and more, especially around election times, especially in the USA. And so I think a lot of people have assumed that all of these big tech companies are essentially supposed to be political agents to some degree, that they're not supposed to be platforms of freedom of speech, that they're not supposed to be neutral. I think many people feel the same way about the world of music and entertainment. They feel the same about Hollywood. They feel the same about academia. They've gotten so used to this left-leaning bias, the concept of neutrality frightens them.
I know, which is just so disturbing to me, because essentially what they're saying is they want a platform where views that they don't agree with are slapped down. And something really interesting has happened on Twitter this week, Zuby, and I've seen you tweeting about it too, and Donald Trump Jr. was tweeting about it, and Neil Oliver was tweeting about it too. All of a sudden, the three of you have started to gain loads of followers. And it seems like this is something that's happened to people who are considered at least not to be on the left of the political spectrum. Nigel Farage was talking about it earlier this week too. So is this a coincidence, Zuby? Or is this something Twitter has done? Or is it the fact that conservatives are actually returning to Twitter now that Elon Musk has revealed that he will be taking control of the platform?
Let me tell you something really interesting, Dan. In the past 72 hours, since the announcement was made that Elon Musk is going to buy Twitter, I have gained 55,000 followers on Twitter in the past days.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, 55,000. Now, you have to remember, in January last year, I actually lost 25,000 in a very short period of time. So my account has actually been throttled. And I noticed just 2-3 days ago, whenever the announcement was made, that those limitations instantly came off. There were people commenting who were saying that they hadn't seen my posts or many others for the past 2 years. There are also some people who are coming back to Twitter. So there has been a boost in the users, but a lot of people who were previously shadow banned or throttled, they no longer are.
Yes, so Zuby, explain to me that term shadow ban, because obviously we've got to acknowledge the fact, by the way, that about 75% of the population never use Twitter because it's a hellish hellscape of vile abuse on the whole. But the reason that it's really important, obviously, is because the journalists use it, the politicians use it. It is the platform that drives the news agenda internationally. So this term shadow banning, I hear it a lot. What does it mean?
Sure. So those people who are not on Twitter, that's very wise and intelligent of you. Yes.
You're living a happier life. You're living a happier life. Let me guarantee that.
Shadow banning is essentially when someone is not banned or deplatformed, but the algorithm is adjusted to turn down the volume on their account. This can mean that it is harder to search for them. You type in their name and it doesn't come up. This can mean that their tweets and their posts are artificially limited. So instead of going out to 1,000 people, we're going to turn that down so it only goes out to 400 people. There are all sorts of methods that they can use and things they can tweak in the algorithm very subtly behind the scenes that restrict somebody's reach.
Got it.
So it's not the same as an outright ban. It's more like turning down the volume on them.